The City of Murfreesboro strives to create a working atmosphere that is both challenging and rewarding, where employees are respected, receive fair and considerate treatment, favorable working conditions, and a sincere concern on the part of the city for the employee as an individual. Assisting the city in meeting these goals is the Human Resources Department. It is responsible for all human resource functions for the City of Murfreesboro. Its director is Glenn Godwin.
I'm Glenn Godwin. I'm the Human Resources Director for the City of Murfreesboro. And the Human Resources Department consists of 9 individuals. Pam Russell is the Assistant HR Director. Cheryl Sharp is the Payroll Supervisor. And then we have a number of different individuals who work in different departmental functions, including recruitment and onboarding. And of course, as you first apply for work with the city, you come into contact with one of our team members. And then outside of recruitment and onboarding, the other functions include, of course, drug testing. We oversee the city's policy concerning drug and alcohol testing and making sure that we have a safe work environment. And then immediately after that, of course, what's near and dear to most employees' hearts is their paychecks. And so we do administer payroll, which is almost just a little bit over $40 million annually from our department. Employee benefits also are provided for in the Human Resources Department, including all of the major medical, dental coverages that employees could choose, and all of the ancillary or side supplemental benefits choices that they can make. And sort of talking through the life cycle of an employee after an employee is hired, starts getting paid and receives their benefits, we assist in the performance reviews for the first 12 months during the employee's probationary year, and getting that information out to the department head and then back to the employee. And then we also have responsibilities for maintaining all of the personnel files in the city for employees. So we, at any one point in time, we have almost 1,500 employee files that we keep managed and organized. Continuing on, once an employee is here for a while, and of course they're being compensated and their benefits are in process. And employees sometimes have questions in terms of transferring or going to different departments or seeking advice and counsel. So we provide in Human Resources advice and counsel to both employees and to managers, supervisors, or department heads. Some of that has to do with interpreting city employee handbook policies. Some of that has to do with interpreting some benefits questions that they might have. And then continuing on, employees unfortunately sometimes get injured at work, so we assist in administering sick leave benefits as well as the all-important vacation benefits that employees earn. And then finally, in the life cycle of that employee, if an employee gets ready, of course, to retire, our department is responsible for the administration of the pension or retirement benefits. So we kind of cover the entire employee life cycle. When Sue Mahon retired in 2010, Mr. Lyons thought a little bit about the opportunity to create a bit of a change in direction for the department. And certainly that has afforded us the opportunity to be seen a little differently by some, but mostly it's about sort of modernizing the function and what it is that we do and really what value we bring to the city. So personnel change to human resources, and there are also some changes in expectations in terms of how we go about delivering value. Human Resources does work with departments, including department heads, supervisors, and all employees. The city has a very important role to play in how employees are treated. And so we also, of course, since we know that the service that we provide to our employees shows back up in either their departments or to the citizens, we take good care to make sure that we have service excellence standards in place and that we treat others with respect, of course, and empathy. We know, of course, that employees don't always agree with communications or decisions. So a lot of times in Human Resources, we wear, as I put it, a number of hats. And those hats are designed to help both the manager and the employee, and oftentimes we have questions even from City Council about how certain aspects relating to policies or decisions are carried out. Human Resources has assisted in the rollout especially of the Service Excellence program that the city has. and also in some other departmental training when it comes to new policy implementation. For example, about a year or so ago when some of the sick, vacation, and TLD policy changes came to be, we have a group of individuals that we work very closely with in each of the departments. We refer to those individuals as department coordinators. And really they're our lifeline into getting the communications out to each of the departments, whether it be a policy change or a question or something that an employee keeps asking or bringing up that doesn't quite seem right. So again, working with the department coordinators is extremely important and rewarding because oftentimes those employees look for that answer in their own department. City administration, of course, works very closely with Human Resources on a number of projects and a number of objectives. And so we work very closely together in both communicating and looking for feedback from employees. For example, if it deals with policy changes or oftentimes, sometimes difficult decisions with respect to counseling or even disciplinary action, we try to do our best to make sure that things are looked at in a fair and objective manner. We've been able to communicate very openly, very candidly with council, particularly in the budget process, and especially during last year's budget process because of the changes with the health care reform and the Affordable Care Act. There have been a number of new things that we have to be in compliance with, and City Council has been very good about listening, about understanding what those compliance aspects are. And I think they've done a great job in trying to balance the need for those changes with the needs of the employees. Human Resources does work with the legal department very closely, and oftentimes we'll work together, for example, on new policies. If a policy needs to be sort of vetted before it makes its way for presentation, we'll work back and forth to see if there's an appropriate way for employees to better understand the message, and vice versa. Sometimes we don't have quite the subject matter expert in human resources that's needed for a certain policy or change, but we work very carefully and closely together to make sure that that right message gets out. Of course, not everybody agrees with everything that happens at work, and so the city has had a very long-standing policy in place and practice on something called the open door process. And the open door process essentially means that an employee can go to successively higher levels of management or in their command staff, for example, if they don't happen to agree. And I know that city administration backs that up. They think it's very important for an employee to be heard and to get an answer at each level along the way. And so Human Resources can sometimes assist employees in better understanding how to go about doing that. Back in November of 2011, Human Resources proposed to City Council and was approved for the city to start using a product called NeoGov. And NeoGov is a software application that resides on the city's webpage that serves as an automated hiring process, if you will. So what we were finding is a lot of folks were making a trip or multiple trips to City Hall to apply for work. And we've seen almost a quadrupling of applications come to the city since we've implemented that software in 2011. The software is very scalable, it's easy to use, you can attach a resume. And one of the things that we like the most about it is that even if there isn't a position that an applicant sees that they like, they can put an interest card on there and it will email them back when that position is open and posted at a later time. So we find it to be very popular, of course, with applicants, and particularly those who are savvy on the web. But more importantly, we find that our internal customers like it better because we're not killing a lot of trees. Departments get what it is they're looking for from Human Resources and referred candidates in a much more efficient and cost-effective way. There are a couple of new things or newer things that Human Resources has gotten involved with, and mostly it's been about how we can challenge ourselves, but some of that has to do with some challenges that have come our way from administration. One is a total rewards statement and communication to employees about what truly is the total value of their benefits. And because the benefits for city employees are so rich, oftentimes employees don't understand how rich that they are. So we've made it a point to take what already exists in our payroll systems and in our benefit systems and sort of marry those up so that it becomes a better and more clear picture for an employee to understand what they truly get from working here. Another that we've recently launched with a lot of teamwork and hard effort, of course, is the city's wellness program, Borough Fit. And while we're not doctors or nurses in human resources, of course, we work very carefully with our third-party administrator and now with our wellness provider, Interactive Health. And so we've been able to keep that program now in its almost second year moving along with some good momentum and good results that are very important to employees and their families about just where their health is. And so, you know, again, this is something new and that you wouldn't expect a personnel department to do, but sometimes HR gets into providing wellness. But we think there's some momentum moving ahead. So there's a lot in it for the employee, not just reduced health care costs, but you know, if I didn't know I had a particular condition and now I knew because I went for a blood draw, there's no way you can value that. So we feel good about that taking place. We have a great team, and in all, there's almost 90 years of experience in our department. And you'll hear, of course, the team talk about lightning rounds, and we do those every morning. At 8:05 in the morning, we have a huddle. Everybody has an understanding of what each other is doing that might affect that other team member for that day. And then we'll also have a monthly meeting that follows the team leadership meetings. But a lot in our department has to do with good communication and also cross-training. Because there are only 9 people in our department, everybody has a backup. And so everybody knows whose backup is available if they happen to be out, which of course life's emergencies sometimes come up. Everybody has to be out. So we rely on each other a lot. And again, because of that cooperation and teamwork, we're a very strong department. One of the things that I think very few people know about the Human Resources team is that the majority of employees are left-handed in our department. And I just recently found that out, but I think it is interesting. And you know, now I'm right-handed, so for those of us who are right-handed, we don't really have to concern ourselves much about that, but most are in that department. So it's just, we think it's an interesting fact. I'm extremely proud of the team that I work with in HR, and I think I said a few minutes ago, there's almost 90 years of service with the city. Everyone takes their job very seriously, but not themselves too seriously. And the team is really strong in that they know their jobs very well. A number of folks there have come to Human Resources from other departments, some in police, some have come from outside of the city. But I think there's sort of a common thread about loving to serve employees and people. Because oftentimes people come to see us and they're not feeling so good, or they have questions, and sometimes there's a lot of stress with their circumstance. So it takes a special person to step out of their own condition and listen to somebody else's issue and try to help them at the end of the day. But I would put my team up against just about any other that I've ever worked with in having compassion and empathy and really caring about people, because at the end of the day, that's who we serve. I would just encourage any employee who has a question to don't be a stranger. Feel free to pick up the phone, call us, email us. Even if you don't want to tell us your name, if you have a question that's on your mind and something that you really think that you want to have answered, do not hesitate. Of course, we're conveniently found on the first floor, but I oftentimes talk to employees who maybe just want to have sort of a sounding board. And so I think I can say that for my team. If an employee is just looking for an outlet or a person to talk to, rest assured we're going to be there to talk to that employee.
The Human Resources Department is located on the first floor of City Hall. If you would like to apply for employment with the city, have any questions, or wish to visit the department, please feel free to call 615-848-2553 or come by the office.